And we're back again. So this is week 3, day 3 of week 3 of week 12. We're on our quad night, and this is Wednesday. So this is our first leg night of the week. Our next leg night will be hamstrings on a Saturday. So this video is actually brought to you by Chub Rub. So as you guys can tell, I'm wearing my shorts again. I'm able to wear these. The reason why I stopped wearing them in the beginning, a couple days ago or weeks ago, was because I started chafing real bad and getting ingrown hairs and little heat bumps on my thighs where the shorts were rubbing, my thighs were sticking together. Fat guy problem. So I got some, Body Glide is a brand name, but it's actually some Gold Bond friction skin modifier stuff. It's just basically like a deodorant stick that you rub on your thighs or your armpits or wherever you get real bad chafing. And it kind of eliminates the sticking and rubbing. It feels clammy at first, but once you start to sweat, it starts slipping and sliding when they're pretty good. So it kind of helps prevent chafing. So I'm gonna try to keep using that and see if it gets better, if I don't have an issue with it. But if I start getting an issue with ingrown hairs and little heat bumps on my thighs, I'm gonna change them out or figure something else out, because I'm not wanting to end up getting some chub rub spots on my thighs. It's just not comfortable. If you guys ever experienced it, you'd understand my pain with that. So for this right here, I actually moved up to 3 plates, and I'm not going to say what the weight is because I don't know what the weight is, because the weight of the sled is different than a barbell. But I actually end up doing this for 20 reps right here. I just slow and controlled on the way down and explosive on the way up. And as I got to the end of the set, I just kind of really went ham on it and everything and tried to get as many reps as I could. And you can't see it in the video, but I actually had veins shooting out all over my legs. How do you feel about getting on this machine right here? Like, is it easy for you getting on here? Is it kind of a pain? Like, I know this one isn't bad, the hack squat, but when you're in the leg press position is more what I'm talking about.
Yeah, when it's in the leg press, I figured out today that you have the 3 settings on the seat, and the middle setting is what I usually keep it at, but it kind of folds me a little bit too much with my midsection, so I just laid it back to the first setting, and it made it much more manageable. The only downside being that it allows me to, when I come to the bottom of it, the seat hits the rest. So I just got to stop before I completely bring the seat all the way down.
So you're trying to tell me that your stomach got in the way of you putting the seat up in a higher position and made it uncomfortable. I just don't believe that, man. You're skinny as a rail. I don't believe that at all. Someone is blowing up my phone right now. I wish I would have put that in the other room or turned that off. So after hack squat, guys, this is the same routine. There's nothing glorious or glamorous about what we're doing. It's just the repetitiveness over and over and over again. The only thing that changes is the reps and the weight. So right here, I'm actually doing it what would be 455 if I was on a barbell. I don't know what it is with the sled, like I said earlier. And the routine is identical every single week. It's just the reps and the weight changes. And I'm not tracking my reps and my weight. I'm not like, okay, well, I did 315 pounds for 12 and a half reps. And next week I got to get at least 13 reps and then 14 reps and then 15 reps. And I'm going to go up by 1 pound. I'm not micromanaging my loads. Whenever I power lifted, I used to do that because it was very important to me to have progress on the bar, because I knew that I was heading in the right direction. Like I said in my other videos, it's going to be redundant. I'm not concerned about getting stronger. What I'm concerned about is not losing muscle mass. So if the weight is feeling light and the grease is hot, I'm going to cook and I'm going to load the plate. I'm going to load the machine. I'm going to load the bar, whatever it is for the night. I'm going to get on it. I'm going to get on it hard. But if I'm feeling heavy, if I'm feeling tired and my joints are feeling achy, if there's something just not right about it, I'm not going to force myself to work through it or push for heavier weight. Could I push for a heavier weight? Sure, absolutely I could. But could that lead to something catastrophic? Yeah, it possibly could. So I'm going to take it easy. I'm not in a hurry to get hurt. There's always next week. And when I say there's always next week, don't get me wrong. I'm not finding reasons to sandbag my workout, take it easy, or, lighten the load. Like I approach every single set and every single rep. Like, what if this is the one that makes me win or lose my competition when I compete in bodybuilding? Like this rep right here, what's going through my mind right now. What if this rep right here is the difference of me winning a show and losing a show? This one right here. Okay, well, that one's out the way. But now what about this one? What if it's this rep? What if this is the rep that makes the difference of me winning or losing? That's how I approach every single rep and set when I'm on the bar. Because the last thing I want to do is step on stage next year to go to compete and then lose and then think, did I really give it everything I had? Did I lose because I didn't give it that little bit of extra on my rear delts? Did I lose because I didn't give it that little extra on my triceps? Man, what if I would have pushed for one more rep or one more pound? Or what if I would have really went at it harder on my biceps? Or that's the way I don't want, that's not the mindset that I want to have if I lose. If I go up there and I lose, even in last place, and I know I gave it my all 100%, and I gave it everything I had for every workout for what I was capable of doing that night, I'm okay losing. I don't mind losing as long as I know I came with my best. And that's pretty much the mindset I have. So like I said, if I'm hurting or if I'm tired or my body's feeling heavy or something's just not right, I'm not trying to get hurt, but it's not any excuse for me not to it's not an excuse for me to get out of training with my absolute 100% potential, because, I got a long way to go before I'm not fat and gross anymore. And if I already have the mindset of like, well, I'm feeling tired tonight, so I guess I'm just going to, that's not the mindset to have for any of this. And who is messaging me? How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I went to the point where my legs are cramping, so I figure I did a decent job. So, yeah. Do you have your competition, though, that you're looking forward to? I don't really have anything set in mind of that exactly, but I just try and push as best I can to, the muscle starts to hurt and starts to burn or whatever, but I know I can get like another one or two, or at least attempt, and I try to do that.
Well, right here on this, you have proof that you do that. Like, you push yourself as hard as you can. And I give you props because it's been a long time since you've been to the gym, but you didn't come in here with the mindset of I'm going to sandbag this and I'm just going to do it. Like right here, you can even get up. This is what I'm talking about. Like, you go until you absolutely can't go no more, or until like you get your partials or your quarter reps or whatever it is that you have to do to be able to push it past the point of comfort, right? Because it's not about being comfort or comfortable. It's not about being like, okay, well, that's just enough, right? And I'm not saying you can't do that. If the goal is 12 and you hit a good 12, that's fine. But don't go into a workout looking at like, okay, well, I'm going to hold back on my squats because I know I have hack squats next. And you do hack squats. I'm going to hold back on hack squats because I have leg press next. Well, I'm going to hold back on leg press because I want to have energy to do lunges. I'm going to hold back on lunges because I want to have energy to do this and this and this and so on and so on and so on. If you approach your workout that way and you're holding back on each exercise, anticipating the next exercise being exhausting or tiring or wearing you out, so you sandbag that one, you're doing yourself a disservice. Don't think about the next set. Don't think about the next rep. Think about the one you're doing right then and there if you're giving it everything you have on that set, on that rep. And then when you get to the next exercise or the next set or the next rep, then worry about that one. Don't worry about what's coming up. Worry about what you're doing right now, because if you approach it that way, you're only going to hold yourself back. I mean, you really are. I mean, let me put it this way. If your program is to do squats and then leg press and then hack squats and leg extensions, and you can't leg extend because you went so hard on your squats, leg press, and hack squats, that's a good night. Don't be like, oh, I couldn't finish my workout because I was so gassed. No, you worked out so incredibly hard, you were forced to quit early. Not because you didn't give it effort, but because you gave it so much effort, you had to back off and stop. That's a great workout. You don't always have to finish every single exercise, every single set. You don't. If you go so hard that you can't even barely move your arms, it's okay to call it early on a couple sets or even skip a whole entire exercise altogether if you go hard enough to be able to earn that point, and to earn it, to be like, okay, I did enough. Again, not an excuse to quit. If you can do it, do it. But you get to a point where you know this is might be a little bit on the border of right at like my limit. And you'll get there eventually to know the difference. I mean, you get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah. And also, like, the belt squat machine is it's a beast of its own. Like, I really like that machine. It for being, like, set on a pendulum and everything like that, not having the pressure applied to, like, the top of my back, and just the way it feels and how the weight, like the heaviness of the weight while doing it. Like, for me, it doesn't take a whole lot of plates or anything like that to really just wreck my legs.
Well, yeah, what I really like about that is it's exactly the same feel as a low bar squat. If you stand wide, it feels identical to a low bar squat. If you stand narrow, it feels identical to a high bar squat. It doesn't feel like a leg press. It doesn't feel like a machine. It actually feels like you're doing a squat with a barbell. The only difference is it's not on your back. It's on your hips. So your spine's not loaded and you don't have to engage your abs as much. And it takes the stabilizing out. So you can really focus on targeting your hips and your legs and your hamstrings however you want. But it's the exact same feel and the exact same load as if you would be doing it with the barbell. It just takes the stability out of it. And there's so much carryover. Like, it's probably one of my favorite leg exercises, bar none. I mean, it really is. Because to me, it feels identical to a low bar squat. And if you guys are having trouble learning how to low bar squat, then I highly suggest finding a gym that has a belt squat and then learning how to belt squat like a low bar. And then when you go to the low bar, all you have to do is build up the muscles that requires you to stabilize your torso to properly execute it. But it's going to teach you how to get in position for the low bar squat. It's amazing. It's an amazing piece of equipment. And by no means is it to be taken lightly.
Yeah. Yeah, it works very well for me. And then as far as like the leg press, hack squat go, we're doing the same routine, but to make it move a little quicker and faster for us, we kind of mix up where we do them at. So I do the belt squat second, whereas you do them as your last part of like the main weights sort of thing before lunges. So like I've already done the leg extensions and then the belt squat before I go to the hack squat and then the leg press. And yeah, by the time like I got to the leg press, like my legs were already kind of jello-y, made the the lunges even more difficult, which I'm getting better at, but I'm still working on trying to get like a full 24 of them repped out.
Yeah, no, lunges are brutal at any given point of a workout, and especially at the end, it's just way more difficult because your stabilizers come in. But also, I want to go back to what you were saying about we start at different ends of the workout. So everything we do, me and Richard work out together, but we don't work out together. We're in there at the same time doing the same routine, but he starts at one end, I start at the other. So if we're doing our arms, he's starting with triceps, I'm starting with biceps. And then the next time we work out, it's the opposite. Same thing for the hamstrings. He starts at one end of the workout, I start at the other, so we have no crossover. The reason why we do this is we're in there for each other in case we need a spot, or like with the belt squat, you saw me come over there and give him assist and help him up out of the hole. So if we need a spot, or if we're kind of literally like, I might need a little help on this one, or hey, help me get a couple extra reps or forced reps or negatives, we're in there to assist each other with it. We typically don't do our sets at the same time for in case one of us needs the other one. But at the same time, the reason why we don't do the same exercise at the same time is because our rest periods are different. I might rest 30 seconds where he might rest 45 seconds. And then there's a movement that I might need 2 minutes to recover from, and I'm sitting there breathing heavy and he's ready to go again in 30 seconds. So like our loads are different with what we use, and also having to change out weights. If it's not a pin stack, changing plates and then changing plates and then changing plates and then changing plates, that's a workout in itself, let alone having to wait for someone else's recovery time and you're ready to go, or you're like, man, I need more time. And then they're like, man, I'm ready to go. And then you're waiting on them. So this is a very selfish thing that you have to do. Like you can't really honestly have a training partner unless they can match your speed and your weights, like rep for rep, set for set, weight for weight, pound for pound. Because if not, one of you is going to end up holding the other one back. It's just how it is. Now, if you're powerlifting and all you're doing is powerlifting, then by all means, you can share a barbell because you're going to be resting 3, 4, 5, 6 minutes between sets. And there's nothing wrong with that. But when it comes to bodybuilding and fast-paced movements, like your recovery is going to be different. Your loads are going to be different. Your endurance is going to be different. And it's just better to work out on your own bar or your own piece of equipment. So that's the way that we stagger our workouts. So those of you who have workout partners, if it's working, then don't change it and don't be like, oh, this guy said this, so I have to do that. But honestly, ask yourself. Now, this isn't against anybody and anyone's training partner at all, whatsoever. But honestly, ask yourself, is your training partner making you better, or are they holding you back? If they're wanting to play on their phone instead of do their set, if they're not helping you change the plates, if they're going to get water when it's time to do their set, if they're wanting to talk to everybody else in the gym or socialize, and they're holding you back, or they're wanting to joke with you or cut up or just get you to laugh or cut up in the middle of your set, and they're not paying attention, you really need to have a sit down moment with yourself and be like, is my training partner making me better and taking me to my next level? Or are they holding me back and I'm just cruise controlling, trying to get them to catch up to where I am so that way I can continue to go further from where I'm at? And if they're not there to make you better and you're not making them better, or if you're making them better and they're holding you back, it's time to cut the weight, man, and move on your own and find someone else, or just solo it for a while to figure out your pace and your rhythm that you need to be able to make your progress. Because I'm telling you, having a bad gym partner is just as bad as, I can't even think of an analogy right here. It's just bad. Let me put it that way. I'm not even going to try to come up with an analogy. It's just bad. It's a horrible thing to deal with, and I've had to deal with it so many times in the past. And don't do that to yourself. I don't care if it's your friend or your mom or your dad or brother or closest relative. It doesn't matter. Cut them out of your workouts, man, and come up with an excuse, or just be blunt with them. Look, you play too much. I'm here for results, and you're not into it like I am. Yeah, I'm done with you. It's time to move on. You can still, come and talk to me if I'm done with my workout. But other than that, man, I can't. We can hang out outside of here, but I can't do it no more. And if they're sour about it, well, then good. Let them be sour. Maybe that'll motivate them to start, cutting the slack out and working out harder. You've never really had to deal with that because you've always had me as a training partner throughout the years. But I'm telling you, it's a son of a gun whenever you get one of those.
Yeah. Yeah, like you were saying, like when we were doing powerlifting, it wasn't much of an issue. But the first week, we kind of, I basically just followed behind you. But after that, it's just been easier for us to kind of split, like me start on one end of what we were doing and you start on the other end. That way, just depending, like sometimes there might be an exercise that we're able to go through a little bit quicker than the other person. So, it just doesn't allow us to have to sit and wait between like the other person doing their set, like you were saying and such. And you just like you keep going at your own pace, and it for me, it allows me to continue keeping the strain and everything on what I'm trying to work out anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, whenever you're at that point where like, okay, I'm just recovered enough to go again and give it everything I have, versus like, I rested too long and now it's kind of like starting over and I'm kind of losing it, or like, I haven't rested long enough and I need a few more moments to be able to get ready to go again. And when you work out alone, you can really, really dial that in.
Yeah, for sure.
So, but I think that's going to be it for this one, man. You got anything else to add to it?
No, sounds good.
You ain't got nothing else? No sign off? No catchphrase? Nothing yet? Still haven't got nothing?
I'm still working on it. Maybe somebody out there has something for me.
All right, maybe. Owl now, brown cow. All right, guys. Till next time. Appreciate you watching like always. If y'all want to leave a comment, we love listening to reading what you guys have to say. Negative, positive, it doesn't matter. Just go and leave a comment if you guys have anything on y'all's mind that y'all want to shoot out there. So till next time. Appreciate it.
Later.